and technology is a vehicle towards a vision potentially, or a intended piece of art or whatever. Like truly the body, you mentioned earlier, Yogananda, talking about the body being a tool, and the practice of yoga has been exploring this tool for 20,000 years and developing techniques to maximize the use of the tool, or the antenna. You can almost look at the body as like an antenna for this consciousness. And technology is kind of the same thing, kind of the same way. It's constantly improving to, well, who knows? I guess there's a lot of intention as to why technology is being improved for good and bad. But for myself, yeah, it's become a real vehicle. I mean, look at us. We're using technology to create this conversation that potentially will mean something to somebody in the future. So in some ways, this conversation is answering your question, how we're leveraging technology to further a spiritual or a psychological or a leadership idea. Um, but for myself, yeah, I find that technology has become really like a brushstroke, and I get really involved with it and try to find ways to create things in a non-intended way. I'm sure you've experienced this before. You're using a piece of technology. Nobody's ever taught you how to use it, but suddenly you developed a system, right? So the process of using technology in itself can be quite creative, by leveraging what you learned in one thing and another thing, combining them, and suddenly you have a piece of work that you didn't even know could be done. But as far as the spiritual practice of technology, um, I don't think it furthers my spiritual practice. I think, if anything, it can be a massive distraction. So what it does is it makes me look at that, and then I have to like kind of separate the two. To be 100% honest, I wouldn't say it furthers me spiritual. I think it can actually, in some ways, especially nowadays with how distracting and addictive the the negative information can be. It can kind of pull you that way, but that's life. Right now we're doing that online, but back then you did it with shitty influence from friends. It's like you have to. It's good. It's good to like have these spectrums, because it creates contrast, and you can actually see. Oh, okay. As you get older, it's like you can feel when you're getting pulled to a place that you don't want to be, and that's just all it is. It's a wake up call to then go this way. So I think it's a learning experience. I think we're all still learning how to be in this realm of technology. But, the one thing that is constant is that seed in that meditation space, right? That never goes away. So if I ever find myself getting into a place where my mind is starting to behave in a certain way, my actions are starting to be in a certain way, the answer is always the same. Just go sit. Go sit, let everything just, and then come back to your baseline. Um, yeah, and then also for me, I got super deep into my spiritual practice that looked a certain way, that was very austere, yoga practice every day, meditation, readings, all this and that. And then you have kids, and all that goes out the window. You gotta like a completely different rhythm. But then that in of itself is another incredible teaching and an incredible yoga practice. So you kind of have to let go of all the forms and find your through line through it all, and observe that. And once you can observe that, that's that authentic piece that I say. You bring that into everything. You don't have to like spiritual practice doesn't have to look like this. It can for a bit while you're developing a relationship with your spiritual practice, or your deep sense of self. But once you find it, you bring that into everything. And then if you get distracted and if you feel like you're not connecting to it, the pathway has already been laid. You just have to pay attention to it, come back to it, and then keep going. And so the distractions, the getting pulled away from it, in an essence, it's actually also strengthening it.